Good day, everybody. Well, there's certainly no beating around the bush with this one, huh? You were wondering why I didn't make a video for a while. It's one I'm kind of sitting on for a bit. I've been kind of going through the final phases and trying to figure out, if there's something I really want to do. And then I see the signs that point to, yeah, you're really going to be doing this. So you might see this headline as a joke, or you might see this title as a joke, but no, I'm entirely 100% serious. But obviously you're saying, well, I can't take you seriously. You're wearing a suit. And I go, I know, right? I mean, who takes anyone seriously who's wearing a suit? You know, maybe if you ask that of our normal politicians and question their authority even though they wear a suit, maybe we wouldn't be in the problem that we're in right now. Well, right? Maybe we wouldn't be in this problem now, would we? If you questioned whether you could take someone seriously if they're in a suit or not. Thanks for that, by the way, because I'm sort of a reluctant leader. And that's sort of the way my life has kind of gone. You know, it's like I never found myself into a leadership position because I really wanted to be one, or I wanted to be the big guy who says everything, right? It's more like, I don't want to do this. I really don't, but I feel like I have no choice, because at this point, I see four sort of outcomes. Number one, I die because of government incompetence. Number two, I die because of government maliciousness. Or maybe a combination of one or two, I don't know. Number three, I run for government, try to make things work a little bit better in these chaotic times, using the skills and things that I've gotten over my over 3 decades of life here, and nerding out in knowledge and stuff like that, and being able to discern and give good qualifications and good information, being able to discern good information from bad information, and bringing that experience to the government. And then either the government tries to kill me because of the maliciousness thing, which would have happened anyway if I didn't even run for office, or or I die because of government stupidity, in this case my own. So, in that case, at least I go down swinging, okay? So, obviously, I would prefer 3 over 1 and 2. And of course, there's number 4, and that is, I keep my head down, play my cards right, try to avoid any sense of, try to avoid all the brouhaha, but other people suffer from onesie and twosie. Some people, my friends, some people who I care deeply for, are impacted by 1 and 2, but I play my cards right and I keep my head down and I die of old age. That one sounds rather boring and at the same time rather callous. Why should other people suffer 1 and 2? And for me being not involved at all. Right? At least I should try. At least I should try to help make things better. Using the concepts and ideas that I have kind of gone through over time. And I may as well at this point, because when I was planning and plotting this thing, Griffin over here sort of lamented about how political the furry fandom is. In fact, he is here that furry conventions are no longer even furry conventions. He goes, so a year or so ago, I said that furry fandom was dead. It was 3 years ago. I did a video on that. And I was wrong! Oh, you admitted wrongness. Huh. But then you then you say you were right in the rest of it. You kind of go back on yourself a little bit there. But anyways, a lot of extremists said, it's not dead, there's thousands of people at the conventions. By the way, the most political extreme thing you can do is saying that people who are citing statistics are extremists. Just saying. It's like, you're citing statistics? How extreme! Oh my god! You're extreme, dude! It's like, yeah, the attendance is going up. Oh, but they're political conventions now. Okay, that's your argument. I have not seen a Bernie Sanders, a Hillary Clinton, a Donald Trump, or an Alex Jones, or a Rush Limbaugh. I have not seen any of them attend a furry convention. You know why? Because most politicians wouldn't be caught dead near furries. Because we're eccentric. We're strange, man. You should know that. No, we've had one councilman who got kicked out because he got in trouble with Good. I did a video on that too. It was my most interesting thing. I think it was my magnum opus of writing things for Flair. It was very interesting. Basically, a town council member got in trouble because of some of the tags that he put on his profile on So Furry kind of didn't go over well. You can watch that up there. But in essence, it's like I feel like I'm in a corner now. It's like, okay, I'm going to be accused of being a politician because I'm a furry now. So I may as well just go whole ham and just do the whole thing. Now, of course, you're like, you're not going to fix everything, Rue. You're not going to solve everything. And no, I understand that. Because I understand the limits of human endeavor. And that is, every generation goes in with the false belief that they're going to fix everything and solve all the problems in before them. But the reality is that they can only fix problems in a derivation. Basically, we can only solve it in our small slices, right? We have a problem here, we'll solve that slice, we solve this slice, we solve this slice. It's an iterative process. Government and governance and creation of laws and amendments of laws is an iterative process. I'm not going to solve everything. There are problems that I'm not going to see coming down the pike, right? But it's how you devolve and how you go through those processes that makes somebody a good lawmaker or not. We'll go over that in a bit. But, of course, one of the first things Americans ask when somebody runs for political office is like, oh, really? What party are you going to run under? Is it good? And you're like, oh, you're asking me whether I'm going to be a donkey or you're going to be a donkey or an elephant, right? Yeah, a Republican or a Democrat. Those are the two parties, man. Oh, no, I'm going to be a third party. Oh, what are you, a libertarian? A greenie? A green party? Oh, those are just derivatives of those main parties. Oh, libertarian? Oh, you mean a Republican that's a sore loser? Oh, Green Party? Oh, you mean somebody who's a little bit blue, that he didn't get on the blue card, so he's going to be green? Oh, poor you. Cry, cry. No. Make my own. Make a Rue party. A what? Yeah, why not? Make a Reformationist party. Yeah? And it's a Reformation. See? It's Reformation. Now, Reformationist Party is named after the Reformation, which was for the historically inclined, it was the founding of Martin Luther, not Martin Luther King, the guy he was named after, basically caused the Protestant Reformation, which decentralized the power of the church, which had a lot of governmental power back in the day. The governmental authority of the church was so powerful that that Martin Luther and a handful of others translated the Bible from Latin and Hebrew and other non-common language to common man tongue. Because they were able to do that, people were able to read and interpret the Bible for themselves, which was a radical thing in that time. And it created what was called, and that is credited as part of that sort of paradigm in bringing about the Renaissance. Now, history sort of rhymes sometimes in my mind, and a Western civilization going on excursions in the Middle East that were really unwarranted, and going on crusades, as it were, creating problems for those back home as they overextend themselves and create disparity. History rhymes sometimes, and I think that bringing forth the name of the Reformation is very Americana. For one, it does a sort of nod to those people in the past who did this sort of deconstruction of power infrastructure in the past. And number two, America's pretty Christian, or pretty. It's mainstream. Its main religion is Christianity. It's majority religion. It's not its country's religion, because they're not supposed to be that, right? You're not supposed to have a country's religion. You're supposed to be able to celebrate your religion in your own way and have the freedom to do so. whether you're being Islam, a Muslim. Already getting in trouble. A Muslim, the Muslim practices Islamic religion. Yes. I'm learning as I go, right? It's not my foreign things are not my forte, which is why most of my stuff is going to be focused on domestic. But even then, even domestically, we have diversity and things like that. So, it's something I'm aware of. And, you learn more every day, right? You never stop learning. That's the whole thing. That's the most important thing. You acknowledge that, the religion of Islam, there's religion of, Judaism, Hinduism, there's a lot of different religions, even very unique and minority religions. But the interesting thing is that you find that, a lot of those religions are sort of offshoots of that. Like, for example, Protestantism, which I talked about earlier, has all these offshoots of Lutheranism and Methodism and baptism Baptists and Mormons and things like that. So you have all these offshoots. And same thing with all the other religions. They also have their little offshoots. But anyways, we're diving a little too far into the whole philosophy thing. You want to try to keep things simple. So the concept is that we were talking about the Reformation, and that's sort of where that name came from. So it's just basically the concept of Reformation. But anyways, obviously you're like, oh, you're going to throw another third party in there, right, Rue? Oh, spoiler alert! Spoiler alert, Tantru! You're going to cause a spoiler effect! Oh, what? I'm running for Congress. I'm not running for president. Yeah, but somebody someday is going to join your little party, and they're going to want to run for president because America has this fetish for the frickin' presidency. You know they do. Everyone wants to be president, Tantru. Yeah, but this is the most important thing right down here. See that? No executives need apply. The very foundation of this party is that you can't run for governor or mayor or president. You are not allowed to touch the executive branch. The position that everyone fetishizes, right? Everybody who's a donkey wants to be president someday. Everybody who's an elephant wants to be president someday. If you're a Roo, you don't want none of that. You want to use your position to ensure that checks and balances are maintained or restored as need be. So, to start off, I'm going to give you a little speech. It's a little speech, it's not long. Like any good speech, it's concise, okay? It's 1 page long. Oh, that makes it simple. Isn't that great? Small speeches are great. This might also be its own video, obviously, because I think that having the speech be its own thing would be great. I'm going to try and see if I could read this with my kangaroo head on. That's skills, man. Oh, man. I'm going to be really good at filibustering. I don't think so. I'm not going to be filibustering. I don't have enough power to do that. And I don't have enough vocal talents to do that. And I think filibustering is a waste of time. And if I can, I should try to probably fix that so it's not a common thing. Right? Anyways, trying to de-escalate things, okay? Not escalate them into this kind of stuff. So anyways, here we go. This is harder than I thought. Let's see if I can read it. When our forefathers founded the nation of the United States, they created 3 branches as a system to ensure that no single branch became the omnibus of law and order over her peoples. As time has gone on, the fight over what freedoms should be allowed and which should be curtailed to ensure the freedoms of others has been a difficult and long journey. Those discussions did not begin by our predecessors' hands, and it will not end by any generation. For every generation is a derivation, improving the systems of the past, utilizing a fresh set of eyes, who question the flaws of the world around them. This is the way programmers, engineers, and law crafters should function. We amend code to make it more efficient, simpler, But most importantly, we must always make the product work better for the end user above all else. Whether one falls within the right wing or left wing, there seems to be an agreement. While we have created more laws, it seems more often than not, they are not for the end user, but for the protections of only the most powerful of us. Our lawmakers are quick to make laws pointed at the individual, but slow to make laws curtailing their own abuses. This is because there has been an erosion of that three-branch system our forefathers had created. Such an erosion was warned in the parting address of our first president, George Washington. He warned in his speech of the political party creating false divisions in the people, as those with sociological influence twist the world to have viewpoints fall within binary camps for ease of control over the masses. As we look upon our families, we note this to be the truth. Our politicians promise a better life, yet are fine with allowing the divisions they create in their jobs to permeate into the fabric of our nation, to soak our loved ones with their vitriol and tear our families apart. The damage they do, they care not to address. They only care about their own power and are indifferent to your sacrifices. They use you as a vessel for their own power. While our documents say we have a three-branch system of government, all Americans know that we have two in practice: a Democrat branch and a Republican branch, both eroding our system of checks and balances so that when their branch is running the country, they have more unchecked power. The only feeble attempts they make to limit power is when they do not have it. In doing so, they sow the seeds of hypocrisy for when they one day hold the presidency. There is only one way to restore our Constitution. We must create a party, the Reformationist Party, to act as a referee and treat the government with cold, impartial checks and balances to emphasize this to emphasize this wish to restore the powers of the judiciary and legislative branches from the jaws of the executive branch. Our main emphasis as a party is that no Reformationist Party member may run for executive offices such as governor, mayor, or president. We must use our party to show the people that they can have an impact in their community without having to be the leader of everything. To restore people's understanding of a just and healthy society, and not one ruled at random from a random desk. When our checks are restored, the balance in our country shall return. And that, as they say, is that. That is the Reformationist Declaration. Basically, as you heard there, we would be working within. There's more details and rules to come for that. Obviously, that's a declaration. There's more details and rules to come from that. But basically, the concept of the Reformationist Party would be to only work within the judiciary and the legislative branches to try to work and make them more powerful as a check and a balance against the executive branch. And in a way, try to break up the duopoly of the Republicans and Democrats working on a thing. So basically, we as Reformationists will never have a stake in the game of executive power. We have no stake in wanting to, prepare the office for our place, right? We're not trying to prepare the office by allowing it to have more power, because we'll never have that power, right? We'll never have the power of the executive. So because of that, we work in order to, and we will see abuses in the executive branch with far more clear vision than a Democrat or a Republican will, because a Democrat, and by the way, like because the problem is that even if like the opposition party in the legislative branch is correct about presidential abuses, the president can go, oh well, they're just a Democrat, they just want the presidency, right? So the only way you can circumvent that catch-22 of, well, they just jealous that they don't have the presidency, is to ensure that this political party cannot have the presidency. Now, it doesn't mean that a person who is a reformationist can never, ever, 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 ever run for those kind of positions. They just can't run it as a reformationist. As soon as someone tries to run for presidency or any of that, we're like, see ya! We're gonna give you a root kick. In case you root kick out of the party, you're gone. You're an independent now. You're running as an independent. No, I'm running as a No, you are running as an independent. You are independent now. You out. Get out of here. Get out of the party. You out. We don't want no governors and mayors. Nah. We don't want no governors. Get out of here. Get. All right. So there's also other rules, which we'll go over in future videos. This is just a general introduction. And like there's basically inter-party rules and platforms in which we would include in the government. Like there's rules about how many can be in the legislature, right? And there's rules about there's the only one that really don't have no rules really in my mind is judiciary. Like if you want to run as a reformationist judge, have at it, Hoss. We can have as many of those as we want, but we do put a cap on the on the Congress, right? Or Senate, right? You can only have one representative, congressional representative per state for the Reformationist Party. We'll go over details on that later. There's a lot to cover, okay? There's a lot of stuff, but I gotta keep it simple, right? So, anyways, so the platform that we were doing. So these are the 8. Like, I have more ideas, but I think these are the top 8 that a lot of people will probably be more interested right now. And I will cover one of these in relatively short order, and that's the last one. So we'll go over the 8 points, main platform positions that we have really quick. Most of them are pretty self-explanatory, and I think many people can like understand them just by the statement. But basically, they're what I call meta laws, right? There's laws that govern the governing, right? The Constitution is an example of a meta law, right? We have the concept called metadata, which is data about data. This is a concept of meta law. So we have the concept of alternative voting, or quote-unquote trickle-down voting. C.P. Gray covered that on his channel. We would try to implement those on federal elections. The concept of you rank who you want to see in an office at the federal level. Because obviously if I'm running for Congress and this is going to be like an amendment or a thing for the federal law, it'd be covered federal. States would have to do their own things. Because, United States is complicated like that, all right? But I understand that complexity, okay? I understand the fractals and all that other crap about the law. But basically the concept would be, let's not nerd out, let's keep it simple. The concept would be basically, like, you would rank who you want to see in office from 1 to X, right? And then if your first choice failed, then your vote would go to whoever you chose second, and then if that person failed, it would go to whoever you chose to be third, etc., etc. So that way it gives opportunities for third parties to sort of to not have the spoiler effect, right? To get rid of that spoiler effect we talked about earlier. Obviously, this video is sort of going over these things as if you know what all this stuff is, because I'm a nerd, and you're probably a nerd if you watch me, so we can go in more detail on it later and put it in more simpler terms. Number 2, merging of Veterans and Voting Day, national holiday. I don't know why I'm going over detail of these points. This is not the point of this video. But anyways, I think that one kind of speaks for itself. 3 executive order constitutionality strikes. That one's got a little deep meat on the bones, but I think it's kind of self-explanatory. But we'll go over that future. Government shutdown and congressional delinquency. That one's really complex. We'll go over that one future. One Supreme Court justice nominee per presidential term. That one's very simple. You can kind of understand that one. There's a little details and nuances, obviously, on how you would implement it, but I mean, it's kind of obvious why I'm saying that. Anybody who's watched politics recently understands why that one is there. Senator congressional salary determinations, that one's extremely nerdy. I probably won't even cover that because I think that one's probably the weakest one. Statutes. A lot of people care about statues, apparently, so we're going to cover federal monuments and things like that and how they're dealt with via a new amendment. Peaceful transfer of power assurance. That one is also sort of like wanting to be an amendment. This one's very important, and it's so important it's the one I'm going to cover in detail in a future video first, because we're coming up on the election of 2020, and a lot of you might be wondering, Kangaroo, you're running in 2022, why are you announcing this now instead of in 2022 when we'll actually care? Because I want to ensure that no matter what the outcome is of this upcoming election, whether Biden wins or whether Trump wins, that this is happening. So you can't go, oh, you're just mad because XYZ won and that's why you're behaving. See, that you got to think 20 steps ahead of people who are in this involuntary symbiosis psychosis, okay? Those are a bunch of $5 words tied together. Yes, involuntary symbiosis psychosis, okay? These people are in this loop. You have to figure out how to break them out of the loop. So you have to think how they think. They want to make it so that because if Biden wins and I run, they're going, oh, you're just a Republican. And if Trump wins and I go, oh, you're just an angry Democrat, right? You got to get it out of the loop. And the only way you can do that is by moving 5 steps ahead of the psychosis, okay? So I'm announcing it now because I don't care if Biden or Trump wins. There are clearly problems here that need to be addressed at a foundational level in the government. And the only way you can fix it is by addressing it as neither a Republican or a Democrat because of the involuntary symbiosis psychosis. Okay? Because these guys are caught in a loop. Alright? And whenever somebody criticizes the other party, you're like, you're just criticizing me because you don't got the power. And you want the power. That's all it is. That's all politics ever is. So you need to break that system. And the only way you can break that system is by purposefully breaking that system. Okay? Is purposefully getting off of the involuntary symbiosis psychosis cycle. Right? Get off that bike. Right? That's the only way you're going to get it done. So that's why I'm announcing it now. In 2020, before the elections are done for next year. Anyways, what were we talking about? Oh yeah, so in the future video I will cover over this thing because hey, I got free time. Okay, I've got free time, and there's not going to be too much in furry news coverage because we don't have a lot of conventions going on. Because we don't have a lot of conventions going on, I'll have plenty of time to set up things. I already kind of know the path I have to go. Got to get a bunch of signatures, got to do all this other stuff, get all those ducks in a row, dot your I's, cross your T's, and I'll cover those in future videos and cover the steps as we go through them. Because why not have some funsies with it? Why, bring people along this journey, and if I fail, then other people can go, hey, I could try to do the same thing he did, only I'm going to get my own signatures and do all this other stuff. And it's like, yeah, cool. Because if I fail, other people can learn from my failures, okay? If I succeed, then, oh boy, I'm never going to have a life again. I'm going to be like, I'm a workaholic. And if I get in an office like that, I'll be like, I've got things to do all the time. I'm never going home. My poor tree. I need to water my tree. oh, I'll never see you again. I'll never do YouTube. I'll be doing my YouTube videos. It's fine. Anyways, so that's that. The next video on this series, which I'll put this in its own video group of 2022 running. I will cover point 8 here, which is the peaceful transfer of power assurance, because in 2020 here, as I said, it's going to be a contentious election. Every election I've seen since I was a young kid to when I was to now at my ripe old age of 35, it's basically, it's gotten worse and worse. It's like an oscillating, it's like a car being oversteered, right? You have people steering, like the president's, like the left gets this presidency and steers it to the left, and then the right grabs the wheel and then they try to yank it back to the right, and then the left grabs the wheel and try to yank it back to the left, and you have this, like the boat or the car is like skidding, right? And the skids just get more and more extreme, and then eventually there's gonna be a capsization, right? And it's gonna come, so there's gonna be a car flipped over, right? And eventually the United States is probably gonna become like China or Russia, right? Where you have one major party calling the shots and the other party is like not too crippled or too weak in order to do anything about it, right? That's the goal. That's the end goal for these two parties. Whether they're Democrat or Republican, their goal is to be the only party, right? Is to grab the wheel and yank it. So we have to ensure our system of checks and balances are put into place and are solidified so that people who are left-wing and right-wing can feel safe when they're spouting their political viewpoints and their viewpoints of the world to try to influence or implement or try to move the believe what the course of our path should be as a country, right? They should feel comfortable with saying those things, as uncomfortable as they make other people feel, right? And you can't do that if we flip the whole thing over. And a lot of people are saying that this next presidential election is going to be that way. It has the potential to be like a powder keg, which is of a very big concern. We certainly can't have another Al Gore, George Bush thing with the upcoming election, because if that happens, so obviously, like, both sides are trying to, we got to make it very decisive, right? But both sides are very determined. They both have determination, and if they keep going down the path they keep going down, we gotta have a bad time. Okay, you know what that means. So we gotta figure out how to not have a bad time. So basically, the peaceful power assurance, we'll go over that and how to do that in the next video. Basically, it's sort of like a kind of in response to sort of like a Gore v. Bush situation, and how the government would deal with those kind of situations in the future to stymie political anger during those kind of close and contentious races. So we'll go over that next time. Thank you very much for watching. Normally this isn't the normal content on this channel. Hopefully it's to your liking. If you don't like it, kick that thumbs down button. But if you like it, kick the thumbs up button. Kick a like, kick a comment in the comment section. Make the algorithm happy for once, I guess, even though I don't like the algorithms, because they gave us beauty. How good can the algorithms be? They gave us PewDiePie. Oh, I'm going to get some thumbs down for that one. I don't care. No, we're good. Anyways, so do what you want. Kick a comment in the comment section. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of comments about this one. Because it's politics, Isn't that what the furry fandom is all about, after all? And what the furry fandom is all about, too. Blame him. He's the one who made it that way. He's basically just giving me permission at this point. He's like, you know what? Furry fandom's all about politics. Okay, sure. Okay, I'll run for public office. That's not what I meant. That's not what I meant at all. No. No, it is all about politics. No. Don't worry, I'll still cover the fandom news impartially. more impartially than Fox News and MSNBC. Am I right? Or CNN, am I right? Ah, making fun of mainstream media. Oh, you're going to get the clicks that way. Anyways, have a good one, guys. Woo! And there we go. What have I done? What have I done? My God. There's no turning back now, is there?